Article 243ZQ of the Indian Constitution relates to offences and penalties in the context of cooperative societies. The article allows the legislature of a state to define, through laws, what constitutes offences and the penalties for such offences in relation to cooperative societies. It specifically outlines certain actions or omissions that would be considered offences under this law. Key provisions. State legislatures' power to make laws, Clause 1. The legislature of a state is empowered to make laws that define offences related to cooperative societies and the penalties for those offences. These laws will specifically address violations within cooperative societies, ensuring that proper regulations are enforced. Offences identified, Clause 2. The law enacted by the state legislature under Clause 1 must define the following acts as offences. A. False information. If a cooperative society or its officers or members willfully make false returns or provide false information, or if a person willfully withholds information required by law, it is an offence. B. Disobedience of lawful orders. Any person who willfully or without a reasonable excuse disobeys any summons, requisition, or lawful written order issued under the State Act commits an offence. C. Employer's failure to pay deductions. If an employer, without sufficient cause, fails to pay amounts deducted from an employee's salary to the cooperative society within 14 days of the deduction, this is considered an offence. D. Failure to hand over custody. An officer or custodian who willfully fails to hand over books, accounts, documents, records, cash, securities, and other property belonging to a cooperative society when required to do so is committing an offence. E. Corrupt practices in elections. Any person who engages in corrupt practices before, during, or after elections of members of the board or office bearers of a cooperative society is guilty of an offence. Significance. This article empowers states to ensure proper governance of cooperative societies by holding individuals accountable for offences such as fraud, withholding information, or engaging in corrupt practices. It helps protect the interests of cooperative societies and their members by ensuring that those who violate these laws face penalties. The Constitution of India. Part 9b. The Cooperative Societies. Article 243ZQ. Offences and penalties. 1. The legislature of a state may, by law, make provisions for the offences relating to the cooperative societies and penalties for such offences. 2. A law made by the legislature of a state under Clause 1 shall include the commission of the following act or omission as offences, namely A. A cooperative society or an officer or member thereof willfully makes a false return or furnishes false information, or any person willfully not furnishes any information required from him by a person authorised in this behalf under the provisions of the State Act. B. Any person willfully or without any reasonable excuse disobeys any summons, requisition or lawful written order issued under the provisions of the State Act. C. Any employer who, without sufficient cause, fails to pay to a cooperative society amount deducted by him from its employee within a period of 14 days from the date on which such deduction is made. D. Any officer or custodian who willfully fails to hand over custody of books, accounts, documents, records, cash, security and other property belonging to a cooperative society of which he is an officer or custodian, to an authorized person, and E. Whoever, before, during or after the election of members of the board or office bearers, adopts any corrupt practice,